Why did the storm obey Jesus? Because creation itself recognized the voice of its creator, and the moment he spoke, the raging winds bowed in submission, the roaring sea fell silent, and the disciples stood trembling in awe, asking one another, "What manner of man is this, that even the wind and the sea obey him?" Mark 4:41. You have to understand this shocking truth. The storm did not obey because of the sound of his voice, but because of the authority backing his words, the same divine authority that spoke galaxies into existence, the same word that said, "Let there be light," and light exploded across the universe. The hidden reason the storm bowed is because it was never outside his control. Nature itself is a servant of the Lord, and when he steps into your boat, no demonic wind, no raging circumstance, no satanic plot has the power to destroy you without his permission. You think your storm is stronger than you, but in reality your storm is only waiting for the moment when Jesus declares peace, be still, and suddenly everything that threatened to drown you must bow before his dominion. This story reveals the shocking difference between human fear and divine authority. Because while the disciples cried out in panic, Jesus slept in perfect rest, and his sleep was not carelessness, but confidence, for he knew who he was, and he knew the power that flowed through him. When you are panicking, when the storm is howling around you, you must ask yourself, are you living like the terrified disciple, or like the resting Savior? The storm obeyed Jesus because he carried unshakable faith, faith so rooted in the Father that he could command the impossible with one sentence, and this same faith he imparts to you, when he said in John 14:12, "The works that I do shall you do also, and greater works than these." The secret is that storms are never random. Storms are teachers, designed to reveal not only who Jesus is, but who you truly are when tested by fire and waves. Consider the hidden dimension. The storm was not just a natural phenomenon. It was a spiritual assault, a demonic attempt to capsize the Messiah before he reached the other side, where a man possessed by a legion of demons was waiting to be delivered. Satan understood that if Jesus made it across, strongholds would be broken, chains would be shattered, and an entire region would be transformed by the power of God. So the storm was a last-ditch weapon of hell. But hell underestimated who was in the boat, because when the Master arose and rebuked the storm, he was showing every principality and power that nothing could stop his mission. And this is where it becomes personal for you. If the devil is stirring storms in your life, it is often the clearest sign that something powerful is waiting for you on the other side, and the attack is proof of the assignment you carry. The storm obeyed Jesus because even the chaos of creation knows its boundaries, and those boundaries are set by his word. Psalm 148:8 declares, "Fire, hail, snow, vapor, stormy wind," fulfilling his word, which means storms don't just rage by chance. They are instruments under divine command. And when Jesus said, "Be still," the storm recognized the same word that framed its very existence. This is a shocking revelation for you. Every storm you face is already pre-written to serve a purpose in your life, and though it may shake you, it cannot sink you, because its end has already been decreed by God. Romans 8:28 tells you that all things, even storms, work together for good to them that love God, and this includes the winds meant to destroy you. The storm obeyed, not because it was forced, but because it was always destined to play its part in revealing Christ's authority. Do you see the hidden warning? The disciples were walking with the Son of God daily, watching his miracles, hearing his teaching, yet when the storm came, their faith crumbled, and they questioned his care. How many times do you fall into the same trap, shouting in panic, "Lord, don't you care that I perish," while forgetting he has already promised never to leave you, nor forsake you? The storm obeyed Jesus as a living testimony that his authority is not just over demons, not just over sickness, but over every realm of creation. And if he reigns over winds and waves, then surely he reigns over your financial collapse, your broken marriage, your diagnosis, your spiritual battles. The authority of Christ is not a distant theology. It is a present reality that demands your trust. For if he could calm nature itself, then nothing in your life is beyond his reach. Hidden inside this miracle is a divine challenge. Jesus expected the disciples to do what he did, to stand and rebuke the storm themselves, which is why he asked them afterward, "Why are you so fearful? How is it that you have no faith?" His question exposes the root. Fear cancels authority, but faith activates it, and what you fail to confront in faith will continue to torment you in fear. The shocking truth is this: the storm didn't just reveal Jesus' authority, it revealed the disciples' lack of authority. And that is exactly what storms still do today. They test whether you will rise up and speak or collapse and sink. When Jesus lives inside of you, Storms are opportunities to prove His power through your own mouth, because heaven waits for your voice to echo His word on earth. You are not called to be a victim tossed around by waves, but a son or daughter who commands storms into silence through Christ's authority. And this authority is not given for comfort, but for conquest, because storms are the battlegrounds of destiny, and only those who believe will cross to the other side. The disciples thought the boat was going down, but in reality, the boat was indestructible, because Jesus was in it. And here is the secret for you. As long as Christ is in your life, your destiny cannot sink, your calling cannot drown, your future cannot be aborted, because the author of your story is also the commander of the storm. You may feel like the storm is about to consume you, but God is simply setting the stage for a revelation of His power that will leave you and everyone around you saying, truly, this is the Son of God. And once you see Him command the storm, your faith is never the same, because you realize He doesn't just save you from storms, He reigns above them. The storm obeyed Jesus because His identity was not merely that of a prophet or a teacher, but of the eternal Son, who carries the fullness of the Godhead bodily. Colossians 2:9. And creation recognizes its master, even when men fail to. You may struggle to recognize His power in your midnight hours, but the winds know Him, the waters bow to Him, and the very atoms of creation stand at attention when He speaks. The shocking truth is that everything in the universe is more obedient to Jesus than mankind is. For while storms submit instantly, hearts remain stubborn, resisting His word. What does that say about you? If storms can recognize their Lord, why do you still question His authority in your life? Why do you hesitate when He calls you to trust, to obey, to step out in faith? There is a prophetic message hidden here. For the storm did not simply cease, it was transformed into a great calm, a peace so supernatural that it could only come from heaven. This is your reminder that when Jesus intervenes, He doesn't just quiet the chaos, He replaces it with a peace that surpasses all understanding. Philippians 4:7. A calm that fills your soul with unexplainable assurance, even when circumstances haven't fully changed. You may still see clouds overhead, but deep inside there is a stillness, a holy quiet that says, God is with me, and I shall not be moved. And when that calm enters you, it becomes the weapon that silences not just storms of nature, but storms of the mind, storms of depression, storms of fear that try to enslave your spirit. This story also carries a warning, because storms are inevitable, but how you respond will determine whether you sink or stand. The disciples panicked because they forgot the promise. For Jesus had already said, let us pass over unto the other side, Mark 4:35, which means the journey was guaranteed before it even began. When God gives you a word, the storm is irrelevant, the waves are irrelevant, the attacks are irrelevant, because the destination has already been decreed by His mouth. Do you realize how many times you have allowed temporary winds to make you doubt eternal promises? How often you let visible chaos shake your belief in the invisible word? The storm obeyed Jesus because His authority is absolute. But this story is not just about Him. It is about you stepping into that same authority through faith. He said in Luke 10:19, Behold, I give unto you power to tread on serpents and scorpions, and over all the power of the enemy, and nothing shall by any means hurt you. That is not poetic language. That is a divine transfer of authority, a shocking gift that too many believers ignore, because they are waiting for Him to do what He already commanded them to do. The reason storms often continue to rage in your life is because you are pleading for rescue, when heaven is waiting for you to rise, to speak, to declare the word with conviction, and to watch creation obey the Christ within you. And until you embrace that authority, you will remain like the disciples, surprised by miracles instead of walking in them daily. There is also a prophetic picture here of the final days, when the nations rage, when chaos floods the earth, and the Antichrist spirit stirs storms across governments, economies, and families. Just as in that boat, people will panic, hearts will fail, and many will cry, Do you not care that we perish? But those who know Jesus, those who carry His authority, will stand in the middle of the world shaking and declare, Peace, be still, and nations will witness the glory of God. You are called to be such a person, not merely a spectator of miracles, but a carrier of divine authority, walking through the storm with calm because you know who reigns above it. The hidden reason why the storm obeyed Jesus is because the battle was never between wind and man, but between darkness and light, between hell's resistance and heaven's mission. The devil will always try to stir storms before your breakthrough, because storms are his last weapon to make you give up before the promise manifests. But you must learn this shocking truth. Every storm is a prophecy in disguise, a loud announcement that the other side of your journey holds deliverance, blessing, and territory that hell does not want you to step into. And if you quit in the storm, you will forfeit what was waiting for you across the waters. This is why Jesus rebuked the storm with the same authority he used to cast out demons, because it was never just weather, it was resistance. And he expects you to do the same in your life, to stop talking about the storm and start talking to the storm, to rebuke it, to command it, to exercise the authority of the believer until the winds bow and the waves flatten. Too many Christians describe their storms, magnify their storms, complain about their storms, but few rise with authority and tell their storms, enough. The storm obeyed Jesus, and it will obey you too, if you dare to stand in faith and declare his word without fear. So the decisive conclusion is this: the storm obeyed Jesus to show you that he is Lord of all, that nothing is outside his command, and that the same authority he wielded is now entrusted to you. The storm obeyed to reveal that his word is final, his presence is peace, and his power is unmatched, but also to challenge you. Will you continue to live as a disciple surprised by miracles, or as a chosen one who commands storms with confidence? The next time the winds howl around you, the next time life shakes violently, remember this prophetic truth: if storms can hear his voice and bow, then so can the demons, the sickness, the poverty, the fear, the lies that try to destroy you. Rise up, speak with his authority, and watch your storm obey, not because of who you are, but because of who he is in you.